All right, what is going on? Hopefully, you guys had a fantastic week. It is the weekend now, and hopefully, we will be able to celebrate some wins. Georgia Southern. Yeah, that's my computer going off. Georgia Southern is going to play Troy, and we have a lot of recruits coming in, so that should be a really good game. As far as the preview of that game, I don't have much to really take from this game. Troy is not having the best year. I mean, they're not having the best year as far as what they normally have right now. They're 2-7. You have their quarterback that is okay. 903 yards passing, 6 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. Their running back Taylor is their leading rusher, but don't forget they do have Gerald Green as well, who can run the ball very well. And absolutely, I'm really surprised. Out of the 903 yards that Caldwell, the quarterback for Troy, has, 783 of those yards came from their receiver, Ross, and that is absolutely amazing. I mean, Devontae Ross, that's his name, from Cartersville, Georgia. I mean, he's from my backyard. I mean, wow, that is amazing that he has all those yards out of their leading quarterback. But nevertheless, they've lost, the 4 games straight until they beat Coastal Carolina recently. And for them to go in to Paulson Stadium and have to face our Georgia Southern Eagles, it should be a tall task for them. I expect Georgia Southern to win this game pretty handily, to be honest. I mean, they're 8-point, favorites, but, what Georgia Southern team is going to show up? J.C. French almost at 2,000 yards passing. I think he should have a pretty good day. I think he should. You just have to, make sure we keep him protected because J.C. French pretty much is not all his fault that he's been injured, but when he's injured, it does affect the rest of the team. What's going to happen when, he does get injured? Tyler Budge is going to have to come in and save the day or just maintain the lead if we do have it. But nevertheless, winners of our 4 out of our last 5, we're doing pretty good, all things considered. 4-1 in the conference. We can keep this thing rolling with the next 3 games, but it all starts with Troy. Defensively, we should have some opportunities here. We should have some opportunities playing against this team, and maybe we can get a handful of stops, run up the lead, especially being at the end of the day. I don't want to just try to spill out this whole thing. Let's just be honest. This is a really good game for Georgia Southern to win. The recruits are coming in. We're playing against a team that hasn't lived up to expectations. We are a team that could be above expectations, especially if we win this game and go 7-3, 5-1 in the conference. It should be a great night at Paulson Stadium. I don't see, honestly, where Georgia Southern should lose this game. Now, it can happen, but I don't see where it could happen. I will be extremely surprised if this was to go down this way. But with J.C. French coming in, playing with pretty much the house money. I mean, you're playing with a good team. Everybody is ready to go. And after winning that game against USA, South Alabama, you should be on track to do great things. Now, another thing you should be aware of: Marshall is right behind you in the standings, so you pretty much want to win this game. And let's see who is Marshall playing right now, coming up. They're playing against Coastal Carolina at home. So with that being said, this could be another game that they could win. Because Coastal Carolina, for all intents and purposes, haven't had the best season as well, even though they're above 500. But these are the things you gotta, keep in mind. You're right behind a team that, you did beat them, but you don't want to lose any more games. So this is another reason why all of these games, they account for something. Both teams right now in the East are right neck and neck, and you're going up against Troy. Troy is a team that you should win. You should beat this team. So with all that being said, Georgia Southern it looks like they're in a good place. You're playing up against a team that hasn't done that well. You're going up against a team that has to come into Paulson Stadium. All the recruits are going to be there. I'm pretty sure that there are going to be people in the stadium rocking it out, and it should be another great day at Paulson Stadium. I think they play at 4:00, so with the time change, it's basically a night game. So with that being said, hey man, you got to maintain. You have to maintain these next 3 games, but it all starts with this game here. I'm kind of a little worried about with the way J.C. French can play. I mean, he can play lights out at sometimes, and I mean, he looks like the top quarterback in the conference, and then sometimes it'll be a time where he falls off a little bit, and you have to bring somebody else in because of whether injury or just sometimes the play is not up to par. I mean, some days you're gonna have. I mean, some games you can have a game where when he did play against South Alabama, you gotta understand. I mean, he was completing 81% of his passes at the time, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, but the injury knocked him out. But then again, you don't want to have a game where it was like he had against Marshall, where even though he didn't play that bad, it just wasn't enough, and we had to come back and try to find a way to win that game. So what J.C. French you're going to get, overall, I think he's played okay for the entire season. I mean, 14 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, not bad when you're looking at all things considered. So I feel like he should be fine. He should be okay. So I shouldn't. You shouldn't have too much of an issue with him playing. But you get a little bit worried because now games are starting to be somewhat meaningful, definitely meaningful at this point. Because right now every game you gotta understand at the end of the day, every game is kind of like a playoff game when it comes to getting to the Sun Belt Championship. I mean, you have no room for error. Your best bet is to try to win every game. And I think you're in a pretty good position where you're playing against Troy, and you got other teams you have to play against down the road, like a Coastal Carolina and Appalachian State, where these games are pretty much in your favor. App is not the best team right now. They're 4-5. Coastal Carolina is above 500 right now, and Troy is under 500 as well. So, I mean, this is for yours to take, but it takes one game at a time. So we'll see how that goes. So that's pretty much that's pretty much all I got to say about that. It's not much to pull away from this. Georgia Southern just need to handle their business. That just at the end of the day, that's all it is. That it all boils down to. So let me know what you guys think. I am going to relax and chill out for the rest of the day. Probably watch some football myself. Probably find something else to entertain me for the rest of the night. And then we're back on to business watching Georgia Southern, and the Falcons going to be playing as well. So hopefully we have a great weekend. All right, y'all. Let me know what y'all think. I'm going to get up out of here. Y'all enjoy the rest of your night. Peace.